And welcome to a new episode of The Simpsons Did It. I'm your host, Steven Skolansky.
And I'm your co-host, Robert Skolansky.
And this week, we're going to come into some money.
Well, no, you're going to give me money because I'm your heir.
No, you're not my heir. Our parents are grown-ups, and we're the heirs, so we're going to get the money from them.
And then your son will get his money from you.
Exactly.
And nobody gets my money because I don't have any kids.
Exactly. That's exactly.
So then it goes to Elliot. And then it goes to Elliot because he's my next closest
relative. So Elliot's the one getting all the money.
Yes.
Okay. At this present moment, Elliot's the one that gets all of our money.
Yes.
Okay. That sounds good.
So we don't have to look for an heir.
No, we don't. That's good.
Yeah.
It's probably good because I hate having auditions.
You don't like doing auditions?
I don't like doing auditions.
I think auditions are fun.
I mean, if I'm the one giving the audition, I don't like choosing someone, but I'm the one doing the auditioning, I'll do that.
See, I'd rather have that power in my hand to choose.
All right. Well, there is something all otherworldly special about this episode. It's episode 99.
Oh, yeah.
Which means we're only one episode away
from 100.
From 100. We'll be around for 100 episodes, which means we've been around for 100 weeks.
That's a lot of weeks.
That's a lot of weeks. That's just over 2 years. Wait.
No, that's just under.
Just under 2 years, if I know how to do math correctly.
So you're able to add 99 and 1, but you're not able to add 52 and 52.
Exactly.
Or 52 times 2.
Times 2, yeah. So what does that put us? Oh, that's 104.
Yes.
So we're about 5 weeks away from our 2-year anniversary.
5 weeks, yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for being around this long and listening to us.
Putting up with our shenanigans.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. You guys are amazing. I got a message on Facebook or Instagram a couple weeks ago that the guy was like thanking us for being a podcast that does The Simpsons. He literally said, "You're our Sunday morning routine. We wake up in the morning,
awesome.
Your podcast drops, and we listen to it." So for all you guys that we're your Sunday morning routine when we drop at 8 a.m. our time, Central, thank you.
Or you know, if we're part of your routine at all. Like,
during the entire week.
We appreciate you listening to us. We do this for you. And we watch The Simpsons, so you'll watch The Simpsons.
Exactly.
I was gonna say
so
we
you don't have to.
Yeah, but we want you to watch
yes,
The Simpsons.
We want everyone to watch The Simpsons.
Because nobody can stop The Simpsons.
That's
right. Except for Disney.
That's right. Disney can stop Simpsons, but they won't. They're pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think they're cool.
Yeah.
So this week we are talking about Season 5, Episode 18, Burns Heir.
Bum, bum, bum. Now, we'll get into it a little bit more, but he has an illegitimate son.
That we don't know yet.
Well, I mean, I think most of our listeners have watched a lot of Simpsons.
Yeah, we don't know that yet, though. Now, had he known that, then he wouldn't be. This whole episode would be scratched.
Yeah.
This episode wouldn't even need to exist.
I mean, maybe it does because he doesn't like his son.
Maybe. Which we'll find out several seasons down the road.
Yes.
Air date, April 14th, 1994. And our recap, Mr. Burns holds auditions for an heir. After Bart vandalizes his mansion, Mr. Burns chooses him.
Yeah. That's a good recap.
Yeah.
I will say, when we get to our 100 episode, I have a bone to pick with that recap. A bone.
So would you... Okay, let's say... So you don't have kids,
no.
Right?
But I have many friends with many kids.
Yes, but would you audition your friends' kids to see who you give your money to?
Well, am I the one giving my money away?
Well, yes.
Yeah, I would do it.
You would hold an audition?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why not? If I don't have kids... Now, well, maybe I wouldn't because I'd probably want Elliot to get all of my money.
There you go. Now here's the other side. What if you had like multiple kids? Like, okay, so we're brothers.
Yeah.
And what if our parents are like, okay, we're gonna have auditions between you two to find out who gets the money?
Well, clearly it would be me.
Right.
I don't see. Here's the thing: I don't ask our parents for money.
But I have an Elliot.
But I also don't ask for money.
No, but the money would go to me, and then in turn to Elliot.
So why wouldn't they just give it to Elliot and skip you?
Yeah, just skip over me, put it in a trust fund. Put it in a trust fund.
See, there you go. Then I would get the money because we're talking about between the two of us.
Right. Maybe. I doubt it. Anyway, so we got a new chalkboard this week.
I love this chalkboard.
The Pledge of Allegiance does not end with Hail Satan.
Maybe it should. Okay, we're not going there. We're not going
One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and Satan for all. Hail Satan.
Hail Satan.
Hail Satan.
Oh, Christmas, a Christmas critter Christmas? I screwed that up.
Yes!
Hail Satan.
See, The Simpsons did it first.
Yeah, they did.
South Park is always stealing things.
Now, I don't know if you actually noticed, there's an audio/animation error.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
So when the car goes, by Homer, every episode you hear him scream, and then there's a doe after Lisa comes by him.
Yep.
There's no audio here.
But the voice move. The mouth moves.
I was like, wait a second. Because, when I do my research for these episodes, somebody had, mentioned, and then I watched it, and I'm like, I had to rewind to make sure I wasn't hearing what I wasn't hearing.
I feel like this day and age, they could have went back and digitally put it in.
Oh, I mean, they use probably the same audio for every episode.
No, how does that happen?
Well, I'm going to go with nobody at The Simpsons noticed.
just like the coffee cup in Game of Thrones. Nobody noticed.
Until after the editing process was over.
Exactly. So we also got a new couch gag this week. Look at that.
Yeah.
The Simpsons are like basketballs. Yeah. And they bounce their way into the couch. And Bart almost bounces away, but Homer kind of grabs him, reins him in, and hurls him into the couch. Throws him down.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, I like it.
What would almost have been better, the Simpsons bouncing on basketballs, but they have basketball hoops over their seats.
That would have been cool.
And then they bounce up through the basket.
I feel like that was a couch gag, though.
Ooh, we'll put a pin on it.
I don't know. This could be a Mandela effect moment where I'm combining two couch gags into one.
Maybe, but that would have been a good addition to this couch gag, I think.
They're
cool. Already coming in bouncing like basketballs.
You know what would have even been better? I don't know if they're really basketballs. Maybe they're made of flubber.
Flubber balls?
Flubber balls.
Maybe.
So, this week, The Simpsons start out with Homer is at work, and he's bored, even though he shouldn't be, because, he's got a job to do to make sure the plant stays safe.
Well, it was a boring day. Nothing was going wrong, which is very surprising because Homer Simpson's at the controls.
And so Homer wins an employee raffle, and he's like, woohoo! And they're like, congratulations, you get to be an industrial chimney sweep for a day.
Which is fun. Originally I thought maybe he was dreaming.
Me too.
It seemed like a dream sequence.
Yeah.
But apparently it wasn't.
Well,
apparently that's a surprise. You give Homer was maybe the entire plant was just bored. They're like, we gotta do something.
Let's prank Homer.
Yeah. Prank?
And so Homer's like, well, that prize isn't great.
Yeah.
But the guys at the top work harder.
Yeah.
And we cut to Burns, who's lounging in his bathtub watching. Wasn't he watching Homer?
He was watching Homer.
And he's smoking a cigar, and he's got his bag of extra fancy potato chips. So what makes them extra fancy? Because they're not even fancy potato chips. Because you got your normal potato chips. You got your normal potato chips. You got your fancy potato chips, and you got. So do these not have edges?
Lays?
What?
Baked Lays?
Maybe. Or do they not have edges?
No edges? What do you mean no edges?
Because the sponge. It's got corners.
Oh.
So maybe the chips don't have edges. I don't know how you make chips without edges. Maybe they're like chip balls. Maybe they're spherical.
Those pop chips?
Yeah,
pop chips.
Dude, those things are delicious, by the way.
Yeah, pop chips.
I used to be addicted to those. I mean, I still am, but I used to too. And so, and we cut to, they put Homer in like a big cotton swab thing, and they stick a
Brillo pad?
Maybe it's a big Brillo pad. I don't know what they use to sweep chimneys. Isn't it just like a broom?
Like a giant. I think it's like a giant Brillo pad type thing.
So then they dunk him in there. Yeah. This isn't great.
Comes out coughing.
Well, yeah, his lungs are full of smoke now.
Now, what chimney stacks are at the plant? Do they have chimney stacks at the plant? Or I thought it was just the cooling towers, but...
I mean, if it's a coal-burning plant, yes, they would have chimney stacks.
Okay.
But it's a nuclear plant, so they shouldn't have chimney stacks.
Maybe they cook those extra fancy chips on site, so they're the cooking stacks.
If there's anybody who knows of anybody, or you yourself worked or worked at or have been to a nuclear power plant, let us know if there are chimney stacks and what they're used for, because I'm very curious.
Yep.
So, Smithers is bathing Mr. Burns.
Of course, because
it's
slave.
And Burns is like, tells Smithers to be careful using the sponge because it's a rectangle sponge. He's like, that sponge has corners. And Smithers is like, okay, I'll go find a spherical one. And he takes the square sponge and he puts it on top of Burns' head, which, because Burns is so old and feeble, causes him to go under the water and start.
He should have wrung out the sponge first.
Yes, he should have.
Because it was full of water. It was heavy. Sponges do get pretty heavy when they're full of water.
Yes, they do. And so, as Burns is like going into the bathtub, he's like, I can see my life flashing before. And he sticks his mouth back. Eyes. And then you see the flashback.
You want to hear about his near-death experience?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so when Mr. Burns sinks into his bathtub, under the weight of the sponge placed on his head, his life flashes before his eyes. A baby Burns drinks from a bottle handed to him by his nanny, and suddenly spits it out.
You're fired.
You're fired. He fires her on the spot. Next, a teenage Monty Burns fires a pistol at the feet of a street beggar, imploring him to dance. The man does a jig. And then stops while Burns reloads.
Yes, because it's one of those muzzle reloading revolvers.
Yes, which is funny because did the guy stop? He stopped,
yeah,
right?
He stopped.
He's like, I would have just ran.
Yeah. I know.
Oh, and then finally Burns wears a bad hippie wig on a Greenpeace boat, sinking it and declaring, "It was I, you fools. The man you trusted isn't wavy gravy at all." He tosses away his guitar and says, "All this time I've been smoking harmless tobacco." Harmless tobacco instead of weed. We all know now that weed is more safe. Would you say non-addictive? Less harmless?
I would say less harmless.
I mean, it's used for medicinal uses, so it really can't be harmless.
But it can be.
We'll see. I'm going to go out and get some Jay and Silent Bob weed in a few weeks. So
I love the fact that like when he jumps overboard, he like puffs like his like coat also doubles as a life jacket because he puffs it up.
Yep.
That was great. And he swims away. And so Smithers comes back into the room after the flashback and he thinks Burns is dead. Like, okay, so if you see somebody in a tub, what's your first reaction going to be? Oh my God, they're dead? Or, oh my God, I got to make sure they're not dead. Because Smithers is like, oh, Mr. Burns is dead.
Yeah, he just assumed.
Yeah. I mean, I get it because he's old. But Burns somehow pops out of the tub. I'm assuming the sponge like fell to the side.
Yes, it probably fell off when he sank in.
And he pops out of the tub and starts strangling Mr. Smithers for almost killing him. Why do the good always die so young?
That was good.
And so now we cut to Burns in his bathrobe sitting by a fire.
Yep, and he's like, Smithers, do you realize if I had died, there would be no one to carry on my legacy? Due to my hectic schedule and lethargic sperm, I've never fathered an heir.
Or so he thought.
Or so he thought.
Yes.
Apparently he thought his sperm count was so bad that they couldn't swim upstream and impregnate anyone. So what he's saying is he's had a lot of sex.
Yes.
He just figured he just couldn't have kids.
And, so Smithers suggests himself as Burns' heir.
Yeah.
And so Burns is like, he pulls up like this mausoleum and he's like, no, I'm going to have you buried alive with me. And there's like a mini coffin with dead Burns buried in there and like a scared looking.
It's like all curled up.
Oh, God. That was great.
Now, is that a compliment? Because we all know that Smithers is completely infatuated with Mr. Burns.
Yeah.
We know this. We saw this in Lisa vs. Malibu Stacy.
He
has a computer monitor where he's like, Mr. Smithers, you're so good at turning me on.
I feel like Mr. Burns, or not Mr. Burns, Waylon probably won't want to be buried alive, though.
Yes, but
I don't think so. Mr. Burns is probably going to put that in his will that Mr. Smithers has to be buried alive with him, but I don't think that would be upheld in a court of law.
No, but is that
still murder.
But for obviously Smithers is like, sure, but wouldn't that almost be like Smithers would be like, oh, you're that thoughtful of me? You've actually recognized my helping take care of you and my infatuation towards you, that you're willing to do this? Or no?
No. No. I mean, Smithers would probably feel, oh, cool, but no. And so now we go to the Aztec Theater, where Siskel and Ebert, the movie, is playing, which is given 2 thumbs up by Siskel and Ebert. May they rest in peace. They both
Siskel and Ebert, the movie.
And they've both since, I think Ebert was the second one to pass away. It was like 99.
Yeah. So what?
Because I know her dad watched them a lot.
So is the movie them reviewing movies? Like a full feature length movie of them reviewing movies?
Maybe.
Because was it a half hour or hour long?
I think it was an hour.
So that's almost, I mean, you're talking, and with commercials, like 44 minutes.
Yeah.
So double that for a movie. So they review like 8 movies instead of just 4.
I don't know. Or maybe it's like Spinal Tap, where it's really them, but it's like a fake movie of them reviewing fake movies.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
They need to make this movie. Now that Siskel and Ebert are both dead, we can do a movie
I
based on their life.
I feel like they've made a documentary.
Oh, have they?
I think so. I mean, I don't know why.
Oh man, if they haven't, right here, Siskel and Ebert the movie.
And so they do the THX sound system, and
remember how awesome that was?
They actually used to use that in movie theaters.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, that.
Oh, it was awesome. They did it too. Well, no. I have like VHS tapes and DVDs.
Yeah.
That still have the THX.
No, but like they used to use that Simpsons clip.
Oh, really?
In movie theaters.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I know the THX. So if you guys aren't old enough, so
I am.
Yes. So if you guys that are listening aren't old enough, because obviously we do have a listening audience in the early 20s. So the THX thing was kind of like your Dolby Atmos now. So if you guys go to a Dolby Atmos theater, they do the balls bouncing, the rain falling. They do a test. So THX is still kind of a certified audio quality.
Yes.
And they don't do it in theaters anymore. But back in the day, when THX first came out, they were like, we got to let you know how awesome this is going to be. And it was all it was them cranking the volume up.
I do love the fact that when they test the sound system, it is so powerful that it breaks Hans Moleman's glasses.
Yes.
It shatters a guy's teeth.
Yep.
It explodes an exit sign. And it also explodes some guy's head.
Yes.
So now there is a high enough pitched tone that can shatter glass.
Yes.
However, you need a machine to do that.
Yeah.
So
technically, the audio was a machine. I mean, a machine was producing the sound.
I think you need a special machine though, not just the speakers.
That was great.
And everybody cheers.
They're like, dude, I swear to God, I feel like in theaters people actually cheered after that was. That happened.
That I don't remember.
But here we go. We got the deaf guy in the room.
The deaf guy.
The deaf guy. Abe's like, turn it up.
Oh my God.
Oh, Abe Simpson, you're the best.
That is fantastic.
So now we get a commercial for Mr. Burns.
Yeah.
And he walks out into the grass like, oh, hello there. I'm looking for an heir. And Homer yells when Burns introduces himself. I don't exactly know.
He goes, ah!
Yeah, because
it's Mr. Burns.
Yeah, I apparently don't exactly know why that would be, but
because he hates Mr. Burns.
I know, but it's
a visceral reaction.
Oh, okay.
Think of something that.
But Homer should realize Burns doesn't know who he is. He should.
Yeah, but Homer knows who Mr. Burns is.
Yes. So obviously he's doing he's holding auditions.
Yeah.
For them to be his heir.
Yeah.
And as he's about to walk off the set, the commercial set or whatever it is.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, for the love of God. And so Mr. Burns sings the "Let's All Go to the Lobby" song.
That's fantastic.
Which is taken from an actual intermission snack bar tune once played at movie theaters and drive-ins in the 1960s and 1970s.
Let's all go to the lobby.
I
love the fact that he like he's about to walk off and like somebody off stage stops.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, really? Fine.
Have ourselves a snack. Oh, that was good. I absolutely love it. So now we cut to the Mr. Burns. This is at his mansion, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and we see a sign that says Burns Heir auditions in Little Langley Theater. Lily?
Yes.
Lily Langley Theater.
Langtree.
Wow. Lily Langtree Theater. Wow, that's a mouthful. All others go to hell.
Lily Langtry was a British socialite, stage actress, and producer.
Nice.
Which I guess that's a good reference for the writers. I don't know.
So now we see Milhouse. Milhouse goes first. Milhouse has his first audition. He's like, I have nothing to offer you but my love. And Bert's like, I specifically said no geeks. And Milhouse is like, but my mom says I'm cool. Next. And then Nelson comes out on stage. Give me your fortune. I'll pound your withered old face in. And Burns is like, oh, I like his energy. Put him on the callback list. Like it's actually auditions.
Yeah.
So I'd love to see the callbacks.
Well, there are none.
Exactly.
As we'll find out in a few minutes.
So Martin comes out singing, clang, clang, clang with the trolley, ring, ring, ring with the bell, zing, zing, zing with my heartstrings. And then Martin comes out and Nelson comes out and punches him in the stomach. Like, oh. And then Burns like, thank you. Give the bully an extra point. Apparently it's a point system now.
I don't. He has no system. Clearly, because...
Oh, that was great. And so, Lisa comes out on stage and she tries to suggest that a female heir. Yeah. But Burns says, oh, no girl. I said no girls. And we cut to Milhouse dressed up as a girl. Oh, there goes my second option. God. And so now we find out, Bart doesn't want to be there. Homer's like, oh, you got to do it. And, Bart's like, oh, I just don't want to be here, Dad. Besides, I started a fire this morning that I really should keep my eye on. Where did he start the fire? Home, school, park, dumpster?
But he didn't. Oh, wait. No, he did. He said he didn't start the fire.
Yeah.
I was going to go with the song.
Yes.
But maybe it's a controlled fire, but it could get out of hand.
But do you think home, school?
Dumpster
Fire? Okay. All right. So I like how this is good. Marge's like, normally says she would be against this, but Bart would be able to save for his future. And we get a Marge daydream of Bart graduating from Harvard, the most prestigious of colleges, and Lee Majors.
It's the most expensive, so therefore the most prestigious.
That's right. And then Lee Majors wanders in and just takes Marge away. And I love the music, like. Now, is that the $6 million man
Probably.
sound? That's gotta be.
That's gotta be.
That's gotta be it. And so Marge opens her eyes like, oh, I gotta stop fantasizing about Lee Majors. One more. And then you hear the. Oh my God. Oh, it was so great. Yeah. And so Homer gives Bart notes because apparently Bart thought it'd be a good idea to take cards from Homer. And so Bart reading off the cue cards. Hello, Mr. Kearns? I want money now. Me sick. And Homer's like, ooh, card reads good.
Card read good.
And Homer's like, so pick please me, Mr. Burns. It's Kearns, stupid.
Marge's like, no, it's actually Mr. Burns.
No, it's not. Disregard. Oh my God. Oh, I like how Marge has to correct Homer. See, Homer doesn't know who he is. He thinks he's Mr. Kearns.
Well, maybe Homer is trying to make Bart look stupid enough that Burns would feel bad for him.
So they can get the money so they can send him to Harvard.
Exactly. So he can get a good education.
Yep. And so Burns is disgusted and he's like, oh, this is the worst one. And so he goes over to a wall and turns this giant crank to like get the boot.
Well, he kicks everybody out and he tells everybody except for Bart to leave. And he's like, you move one step to the left.
Yeah. And so he goes and turns this first wheel,
yes,
which brings the boot back.
Yes.
Goes to the second wheel, cranks it, and it kicks Bart in the butt. I feel like the first one should have been on a spring load, so when you hit a certain point, it just kicks forward.
And then Homer, oh my God, he got the boot.
It's almost like the Gong Show.
Oh yeah.
Or, well, I guess not anymore. Well, this obviously hasn't been out yet, but like America's Got Talent almost, where they.
Yeah, but they don't hurt people when they kick them off stage.
No, they don't. And so Marge tells Homer that the kids are down.
Oh my God.
Is there anything you could say to them?
I love this line. So Homer turns to the kids. He goes, kids, you tried your best and you failed miserably. The lesson is never try. And it's like a meme, like you can find the meme anywhere, like the quote. It's just, the lesson is never try.
Never try.
And then Homer laughs some more again at Bart.
Kicked in the butt.
And, now Bart's upset at Homer in life. And so...
This is already the second quote about trying, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I feel like this is already the second quote from Homer about trying.
Yeah. And so we cut to Burns in his mansion, and he's sad he couldn't find an heir. And a rock comes crashing through Burns' window. But Burns is like, look, Smithers, a petrified bird who lost its way.
Yeah.
Sir, that's a rock. We'll see about that. Bring that to the lab.
Yeah.
But we go outside, and no, it's Bart throwing rocks through windows.
All of them.
And Bart then takes a garden hose, wraps the hose around several heads of statues on the lawn, takes the end of the hose, puts it into Burns' car, turns the hose on. The water, I guess he tightened it enough.
Yep.
Because the water pressure popped all the heads off and started filling up Burns' car with water.
That's awesome. I like that. That's a good prank.
He's lucky. Bart is a very lucky young kid. And I love Bart takes down a no solicitor sign.
And all the people barge in and start ringing the doorbell.
Oh, God. So then Burns, opens up the window and he's like, I like Bart's style. I like your style. He's like, you there, boy. What day is today? And some random kids, why, sir, it's Christmas Day. Christmas, what is it? Christmas Carol. I almost said a Christmas Story. That's completely different.
Yeah, so that was a movie, literally moment.
Yeah.
A Cockney boy says to Burns, today, why it's Christmas Day, is a scene reminiscent of Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol.
Yeah. And he's like, I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to that boy. And it's Bart. And Burns is like, do you know what today is? And before Bart can answer, he's like, today is the day you become my heir. And Bart nails Smithers with a rock. And Burns is just even more happy.
Yeah. He's the perfect one to suckle at my proverbial teat.
So now we cut to the Simpsons household where there's lawyers and Burns wants Homer to sign a document to make, Bart Burns' heir. And Homer is like, he thinks they're rich.
Yeah, he's like, woohoo, we're rich. Bart, get over to the mansion and open up all the windows. You want to get rid of the old people smell out before we move in. And Lisa's like, Dad, Mr. Burns hasn't passed away yet. Huh? All right.
Oh, God, it's great. So, now I'm not a lawyer, but I feel like, maybe you can sign, your kid's rights away to somebody, is Mr. Burns isn't adopting him.
No, it's definitely not an adoption, but
you can name anybody your heir, obviously. Yeah. So I wonder what's in the contract.
So, obviously in the contract wasn't Bart has to live with him. Because that was a decision that was made by Marge.
Yeah.
It might have in the contract that Bart has to perform certain duties.
Yeah, you said
and has to be, obviously, I'm guessing there's an age thing. He has to be 18, 21 to receive the money. So, no, because he's a minor. My guess is the contract is the money. If Burns dies before Bart's 21.
Then it goes in a trust.
It goes into a trust.
And then he gets it afterwards.
Yes. That would be my guess.
Okay. That makes sense. So, I love how Homer asks Burns if he's in good shape. It's like, are you having heart problems? And before Burns can answer, Homer turns around and goes, boo! Which causes Abe to have a heart attack. Oh my God! Abe falls over.
Oh, that was
what
good.
What is Abe even doing there? Just for that joke?
Yes, and he wanted to be part of the fun.
Oh, God.
Because Abe wasn't going to give Homer money.
No.
He doesn't have, remember, the Lisa versus Malibu Stacy? He already, Abe already gave away his life fortune.
And so, Burns, he starts to leave and he tells the Simpsons, I'm going to go back to my mansion to rattle around. But he's really sad. And Marge, asks Homer if...
No, Marge is like, Bart, since he's giving you all his money, maybe it would be nice if you spend some time with him. Well...
No, before that, Marge turns to Homer and asks him if he's thinking what Marge is thinking. And Homer is like, you're right, Marge. We should push him down some steps. No. And then Marge encourages Bart.
She's like, come on, honey. All right. How come Bart gets to do that and I can't spend one night lurking in the bushes outside Chef Boyardee's house?
Is there a Chef Boyardee in The Simpsons unit? Like a real Chef Boyardee?
But I like how Homer's complaining about that. Those are two completely different things.
That too.
Bart hanging out with Mr. Burns is completely different than stalking Chef Boyardee.
But Chef Boyardee isn't a real person.
Homer thinks he is. His face is all over the cans.
Yeah. So, Bart goes to Burns' mansion to have dinner. And I love Burns like, well, I know you kids see me as some sort of booger man.
Yeah.
And then Burns looks at Bart's milk. He's like, oh, Bart, your milk is getting cold. Let me ring the maid to get you some more milk, apparently. And he pushes a button which straps Bart into the chair. Like, I know Burns is an evil guy, but why would you do that in the dining room?
Now, okay, so he said his milk is getting cold. Was that a joke, or was it supposed to be food is getting cold? Because milk would get warm.
I don't know. Maybe it was read wrong. Maybe it was supposed to be food. He does say milk.
He does. But that I didn't actually write it on the notes or nothing, but I was going to mention, and I'm like, milk doesn't get cold. Milk would get warm, but your food would get cold. Yeah. And that would prompt the next part.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, you can get whatever you want.
So maybe that was a misread line and nobody caught it, or maybe they thought it was funnier to leave it that way.
That's the only thing I can think
Burns
of.
is so old that he would think that the milk is actually getting cold, so Bart would need a new glass.
But what prompts next is, Bart getting
strapped to the chair.
Well, no.
Well, the maid. He was ringing the maid.
Yes, but about the food. So if his milk was cold, why would the maid need to bring more? But if his food was getting cold, the maid would bring more, but that leads into Bart wanting to get pizza.
Well, no, because Bart wanted to leave, so Burns was like, you can have anything you want to eat.
Yes, but that would be the food getting cold.
Not necessarily.
I don't know. Okay,
because Bart, Bart's like, I want to go home because, well, I mean, after you get strapped to a chair unexpectedly, I want to go home too.
Yep.
So Burns is like, look, you can have anything you want to eat, even some sort of gelatin dish. It's made from hooves. It's made from hooves,
Yep. And so Bart says he wants a pizza delivered by Krusty. So Bart demands that Krusty the Clown delivers a pizza to him at the mansion. And then he wonders, when Krusty gets there, he's like, he wonders how Krusty can be on both live TV and standing there with pizza at the same time. And Krusty explains he's just playing a rerun. But this one is a show taped the day the Falkland Islands were invaded.
Yeah.
Now, funny enough, so Krusty is reading a teleprompter in a 1982 edition of his show, even though he's supposed to be illiterate. He's supposed to be illiterate, but he's reading a teleprompter about the Falkland Islands.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe they just wrote Invasion Falkland Islands.
He's illiterate. He wouldn't be able to read that.
Maybe somebody told him in an earpiece and they handed him a card to make it look more legit.
I don't know.
No,
because the lady also came, not only was there a teleprompter, but the lady came by with a card.
Yeah.
So he's supposed to be illiterate. What's he doing reading? The Falkland Islands were invaded in 1982.
I don't know. Maybe somebody mouthed it to him?
I don't know.
Again, and this goes back to when we started, the continuity errors.
Yep.
Like, I feel like...
But this isn't a continuity error per se. This is Krusty's...
it is a continuity error.
Well, it is, yes. It is a continuity error, but it's not a continuity error in the line of, oh, this shouldn't have happened. Yeah. This is actually a profile. When we profiled Krusty the Clown, this is Krusty's character. He is illiterate. So the fact that they would change that...
Or maybe they forgot.
They
just forgot. I do like the fact that Krusty's like, nobody can tell the difference. And that's when he announces it.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Oh, that was good. And so Burns takes Bart to a room with a lot of monitors on it. Because he's like, this will be cool. Where Bart learns that Mr. Burns has secret cameras put in every house in Springfield. That's devious.
Yeah, so... go ahead.
Yeah, and Burns got the idea from the movie Sliver, which stars Sharon Stone and came out in 1993.
So fairly new.
Yeah, never seen that movie.
Have you ever heard of it?
No.
I've never heard of it either.
But that was 93 too, so that's in our realm.
Yeah.
Well, then again, Sharon Stone also died. I'm assuming that had to have been an R-rated movie.
So not necessarily in her realm. But, good reference.
So on the monitors, we see Mo standing in front of a mirror doing the...
from
Taxi Driver. What was that? Like...
You talking to me?
Yeah, you talking to me? I don't see anyone else around here. So you must be talking to me.
And he breaks the mirror and he's like, that was an antique.
Yep, yeah. And then we see Reverend Lovejoy at church drinking.
I don't know if it was wine. Was it wine? Like, you can't really tell.
Yep. Then we see Edna kissing Jacques.
Oh.
Well, Jacques is a Frenchman, and Edna likes to get around, so, And then we see Chief Wiggum in the bathtub. So, I don't know if... so, a lot of these cameras definitely weren't in bathrooms, but apparently Burns thought it would be a good idea to put one in the Wiggum bathroom.
Well, I mean, where else? I mean, the two places in the Wiggum house you're going to put it, because if you're going to blackmail Wiggum, is the bathroom or the kitchen. Yeah.
And then the last video we see, Maude eating ice cream.
Why did he put one in the Flanders home? Was that necessary?
I mean, Flanders is a goody-goody two-shoes, but, I mean, maybe. I mean, they might, catch Flanders doing something he shouldn't be doing.
Like what? Praying on the wrong night?
No. Reading the wrong passage in a Bible. I don't know. So Homer, I like how Homer locks himself in the bathroom to eat flowers. And that's how we learn, Homer's...
Holland trip?
I
don't get it.
Because flowers, like tulips. He was eating...
Yeah, tulips.
Tulips, like, are a Holland thing. Like fields of... They don't eat them, but they have fields of tulips in Holland.
Okay.
And so that's how Bart learns his Homer's secret shame. And he's like, oh, that's how we go through so many flowers. And so Bart returns home saying he enjoyed being at Mr. Burns. And Burns has a hedge maze, a moat, which a moat is what goes around an entire property.
Yeah, you don't see a moat.
I don't know where that moat is.
Maybe it's an underground moat?
Underground moat?
I don't know. Maybe he's like Batman and has a bat cave and he's got a moat around the bat cave.
Maybe. Bat Burns. Yeah. And bleached hardwood floors and a bottomless pit. Well, you're going to assume it's bottomless.
Yeah.
Because, Burns would have a bottomless pit.
Yes.
Although the bottomless pit, wasn't that supposed to be in the middle of the woods? Where the mob drops.
Oh, yeah.
And the Whoopi Goldberg nude photos.
Yeah. Nobody wants that.
Yeah, I think so. Burns kidnapped the bottomless pit and brought it back to the mansion.
Maybe.
Or there's multiple bottomless pits in the town of Springfield.
Could be.
Ooh, that's good. All right, so Bart starts flicking peas at Lisa. And Lisa is she's just annoyed.
Well, obviously.
Just annoyed.
Yeah.
Bart's basically taking advantage of the fact that screw the Simpsons.
Yeah, I'm rich.
I'm rich. Well, not really rich, but
not yet.
Kind of. And so Bart's like, oh, yuck. Meatloaf, my most hated of all loaves. And then Bart takes his meatloaf off his plate and feeds it to Santa's little helper, which kids do that. And Homer's like, that was the end piece. That's it. Being abusive to your family is one thing, but I will not stand idly by and watch you feed a hungry dog.
I will say the end piece of a meatloaf is the best. Well, it's kind of like, because the thing is, the end piece of the meatloaf, you got a little bit of char on the meat. Yeah.
So is Homer saying they don't feed Santa's little helper? Is that what he's implying?
I think maybe he's implying, how dare you feed a hungry dog meatloaf?
Instead of a hungry Homer?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, that makes sense. And so...
By the way, we have seen Bart eat meatloaf in the past.
Yes, so, we have. Yeah. But I like how Bart tells Homer, go eat some flowers. Like, shame. and then Bart just storms out of the house.
Yeah.
And then Burns sees Bart coming back to the house and says his plan worked perfectly. And Bart runs in and hugs Burns and tells Smithers to get it off of him. That was great. Get it off me.
So what was Burns' plan? It's not like what we saw Burns show Bart. Like, did that make him resent the Simpsons so much that he was like, screw it? Like,
I don't know, but now, like, after this scene, basically it kind of turns into a loving relationship, like Bart becoming Burns' son almost for real.
Well, so here's the thing: is it because Bart wants to love Mr. Burns, or is it Stockholm syndrome?
Little from column A, little from column B. And so this is the best. This is the best. I love this. This is almost the best thing in the world. And so Homer drives to Burns' mansion to get Bart, and he runs over. I love how he runs over Bart's bike in the driveway because Bart just let it sitting there. Yeah. And Homer tells Bart to come home. Bart doesn't want to. And this right here is amazing. So Burt's like, I suggest you leave immediately. Or what? You release the dogs? Or the bees? Or the dogs with bees in their mouths? And when they bark at you, they shoot bees at you? Well, go ahead. Do your worst.
And so Burns and Bart walk into the house and lock the door behind them.
That was great. Now, we haven't gotten to this yet, but there is a alternate scene to this scene.
Oh yeah, in the deleted
in the deleted scenes in a clip show that actually I think is next season.
I think it is. It's like
or is it a couple seasons?
I think it's season 7. I want to say it's like episode like 138.
Yeah, episode. Yeah, you're right. It's episode 138.
By the way, yes, that was very specific, and my brain is ingrained.
No, you are right. It is episode 138. Okay. But yes, we'll get to that episode, and we'll tell you about the deleted scene that's actually associated with this one, and it's absolutely fantastic.
I love so Bart, Burns, Bart, and Mr. Burns, Bart, and Mr. Smithers go in the house, lock the door, and Homer's like, I'll show you, and then rings the door and runs away.
Ding dong ditch.
I don't think they really care. I think they knew that was Homer, so they're like, whatever.
Yep.
So Homer and Marge decide to go to the police station, and they tell Chief Wiggum that Burns has kidnapped Bart, which, not really. I mean, Bart kind of went there on his own accord. Yep. But I guess because he is a minor and his rights go with Marge and Homer, it is technically kidnapping. And Wiggum's like, why can't you people just solve your own problems? I can't believe policing the whole city.
Yes. Oh, that was great.
Oh, love it. And so they decide to go to the worst attorney in Springfield, Lionel Hutz, who is also, but he is an expert shoe repair.
He is.
And we get 2 stores on either side of Lionel Hutz's little office. We get the Crematorium, which is an ice cream shop, and Gum for Less.
Yes, remember I mentioned that like season 1 during the Santa episode?
Sure.
That was like four seasons ago. Yeah. But no, the Gum for Less shop, that was one of the stores that I mentioned way back in season 1, episode 1.
What is that supposed to be a riff on?
Gum for Less?
Yeah, Shoes for Less? Is there a Shoe for Less store?
I don't pay less. I don't know.
But you get less gum?
Yes. You pay less and you get less.
Is it a Fruit Stripe store?
Ooh.
Because, their gum only lasts like 20 seconds. Yes. So Hutz, tells the Simpsons that they came to the best. And so Skinner interrupts the meeting and he's looking for an Orange Julius. And Lionel Hutz is like, well, I'll sell you the one that I have. He's like, well, I might as well just drink water out of a toilet bowl.
He'll be back.
Yeah. So Lionel Hutz tells him not to worry. He has argued in front of every judge in the state, often as a lawyer.
So obviously Hutz has been sued and has been on the other side of the chair.
Oh, God. Remember, kids, a man who represents himself is a fool for a lawyer.
Yep.
So we cut to the courthouse, and the judge rules in favor of Mr. Burns, saying Bart is clearly Burns' biological son. So
what did they do? Did they mock up, forge a DNA test?
Yeah, because they had DNA testing in '94, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, how do you or did they just bribe?
They bribed him, absolutely.
And Marge rightfully...
The blue-haired lawyers know what they're doing.
And then Marge rightfully points out that they need to stop hiring.
Yeah, we got to stop hiring this guy.
And so now we cut to Bart hanging out at Burns' mansion with Milhouse. And, Bart is showing him all of his cool stuff. But then a train comes by.
Yes.
And Milhouse is like, oh, where does that train go? Because it, leaves the room. Bart's like, I have no idea where it goes. But it won't be back for another 3 hours and 40 minutes. Once had snow on it. Yeah, where the fuck is this train going?
Tibet? Doesn't Mr. Burns have a tube to India? Yeah, he has a tube to India.
So it goes through the mountains of Tibet.
Yeah, exactly.
Where are they? Because remember, it takes 3 hours and 40 minutes to come back. No, I think it's going to like Denver or something. I think it's going to the Rockies.
Oh, that's good.
Because remember, they're in Utah, so that would make sense.
Yes, okay.
I think they're in Utah anyways. So Milhouse, wants to leave. And he does, and that makes Bart sad. And Mr. Burns is like,
he tries to keep him to stay though by
the jacket.
The jacket. Oh, you could wear
some
this
designer jacket.
Yeah.
I don't want it. And Burns tells Bart, you don't need him. I can be your schoolyard chum.
Yeah.
So they go
outside. Is Bart actually still going to school then?
But why does he need to go to school?
He's rich. Yeah.
So they go outside. So Mr. Burns can kick a football to Bart, and you got Smithers holding it, and Burns is far enough away because he wants to get a running kick.
Yep.
And he runs like halfway and then passes out because he's old. But before he does, he swings his leg in the air, nails Smithers in the head. So Burns passes out, and then Smithers passes out on top of him.
I almost wonder, was that supposed to be like a Charlie Brown gag with Lucy holding the football? And
I don't think so.
No.
Okay. And so, because of this debacle, Burns decides to buy a car for Bart.
Yep. And he said, he's like, I don't know how to drive. That's okay. There's a Jaws of Life in the trunk. Do you want to know what Bart hits while driving his red sports car?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So he hits a fire hydrant.
Yep.
A loaded mailbox.
Okay.
Several bales of hay.
Yep.
A Santa's Christmas Village sign.
Yeah.
Several candy canes. Reindeer cutouts. An elf. And a menorah. So I don't know if the menorah was at the Christmas village or not.
I love the fact that when he stops, he's like, "Oh, what a ride!" And the elf is like, "You're telling me."
Yeah. Oh, that was good.
So now we go to Conformco Brain Deprogrammers, which is apparently a subsidiary of Mrs. Fields Cookies.
Which they brainwash you to those. Those cookies are good, man. It's like crack.
Yeah, I do like there's like a before and after photo on it. I couldn't really make out what the pictures were, but like, I don't know what, like the first guy was in a suit, but the after picture he looked like a Hare Krishna.
Yeah,
like, I don't know. So they go to a guy, and the guy's like, "I can get your son back." He's like, "I got Paul McCartney to leave Wings," and Homer's like, "You idiot! He was the only good one."
Oh, that was good.
And so the dude kidnaps a body,
supposedly Bart,
and they go to the Happy Earwig Motel. Our crawl space is now body free.
Well, it's good. Well, it's funny. I thought they were gonna go with I thought there was a tie-in joke with the deprogramming and the term earwig. Because if you guys don't know what an earwig is, it's the song that gets stuck in your head and you can't get it out. And so I thought
I believe an earwig is an actual bug too that burrows in your ear.
Okay. So maybe that's why the crawl space is now body free? I don't know. I thought maybe the title of the hotel would have some reference to the deprogramming side, but it didn't.
No.
So the guy from Conformico brings a body into the motel and is killing the Mayor Quimby's vibe.
Yeah, because he's next to him.
It's like, what is he saying?
He's like, "You are the son of Marge and Homer Simpson." Mayor Quimby's next door with a floozy. Keep it down in there, killing the vibe.
Yeah.
That was a horrible Mayor Quimby.
Yep. And so after 2 weeks, we see Homer and Marge just pacing outside the motel room. Were they pacing for 2 weeks, or?
I think maybe the guy was like, "This is going to take up to 2 weeks," and then maybe they called them when they were close, so then they went to the motel and they were, waiting.
Yep. And so they come out. He's like, "Your son is now yours again." And we see that it's actually Hans Moleman.
I love this.
And not Bart. Not Bart. That's great.
Yeah.
And Homer's like, can we keep him anyway? I don't want to keep Hans Moleman.
Yeah, I want to keep Hans Moleman.
Yeah.
When you kiss him, he tastes like peanut butter.
Yeah. And you can't keep Hans Moleman down.
Nope.
And so now we cut. Yes. If you guys didn't get that, listen to MC Lars. He does a Hans Moleman song.
Oh, it's fantastic.
It's fantastic. go back to our MC Lars podcast.
Yes.
Where we had him on.
Yeah.
The song is at the end of that episode of the
Sweet.
podcast. So go check that out if you haven't already.
Or just go to YouTube. Or listen to our podcast.
Listen to our podcast. What are you telling people to go to YouTube for?
Well, because I want them to listen to MC Lars' stuff,
no,
too.
they listen to our podcast first, then the MC Lars song.
Okay.
All right, anyway.
Listen to both of us.
Yes, exactly. So now we cut back to the mansion, and Burns and Bart are watching Itchy and Scratchy. Mm-hmm. Classic episode. The buck chops here. Mm-hmm. Itchy and Scratchy go to the U.S. Mint in Washington, D.C., and Itchy knocks out Scratchy with a bag of money.
Just a big dollar sign bag.
Yeah, it has Scratchy turned into money, which is funny. So he goes down the conveyor belt, and this press goes down on him, and you see that the dollar bills are in the shape of the cat, right? They're in the shape
Scratchy.
of the cat. And the funny thing is so the thing goes and cuts the bills into money. What's funny about it is when you see it cut and turned into bills, the angles and everything of Scratchy's head, ears, arms, where the bills aren't actually complete, because you can't make a complete bill out of a curve.
Yeah.
That when Itchy puts them all into a pile, you actually see those bills go from curved into to a hole, which I thought was really, really funny.
Yeah.
So Itchy brings the Scratchy money to a tycoon convention where rich dogs use Scratchy bucks to light their cigars.
That's very awesome.
And then at the end you see the one dog lighting it, and you see the eye of the pyramid going
back and forth
while he burns away.
Yeah.
And I like how Burns finds Itchy and Scratchy hysterical. He's just on the sofa
and Bart, because him and Bart were laughing, and then Burns kept laughing, and Bart slowed his laughter and then stopped, and he's like.
But what's funny is we know Burns and his giggles. They just keep going.
Oh, yeah.
Burns
what was I laughing about?
And so Bart says, I want to go home. Mm-hmm. And so when Bart tells Mr. Burns that he wants to go home, Burns shows Bart a monitor that is supposedly connected to a camera in the Simpsons household. It shows the Simpsons on the couch. And so we see Homer, a blank delivery. Blank. And obviously wrong voice, too. I do not miss Bart at all. Then Marge is like, I'm glad he's gone. And Lisa's like, as am I. And Homer dropping his sandwich. Bo! And Bart's like, it's probably my imagination, but something about them doesn't quite seem right.
So here's the weird thing. So when they're in the room watching this, Mr. Burns exits through a door to go to the studio.
Yeah, it's behind him, yeah.
Is that the only door in there?
In the room?
Because you don't see, obviously there's not going to be a door behind the monitor. There's not a door on the opposite wall. Is there did they walk by the studio to get in the monitor room? And then there's another door into the studio?
I don't know. That was good. Animation error? I'm not quite sure.
I don't know. It was weird.
So Mr. Burns goes in to coach. Yeah. It's like, hey, Homer says dough, not bow.
So I like the fact that so the actors themselves kind of reveal their faces, and the guy who plays Homer sounds very similar to Michael Caine.
Yeah, I don't have any notes saying that there are any particular special actors in this episode.
There aren't. I don't think. So somebody at The Simpsons did a British accent. It just turned out to be sounding like Michael Caine.
Yeah, that had to have been it. And then you see the little girl rips off the Lisa mask. He's some dude.
Yeah, wasn't he from some foreign country?
Like Ukraine or Russia or something. Yeah. And so Burns goes like, okay, now let's see what's up with the.
So here, before we continue, there is another thing in that scene where Burns goes in. And he's like, Homer Simpson doesn't say Bo, and he picks up a script, and he flips through 20 pages. Yeah. And there's 3 lines to get to dough.
Yeah.
Why is he flipping through so many pages? There's 3 lines.
That was good. Oh. And so Burns, goes back, okay, let's see what's up with the old Simpson family. And he drops his sandwich again. And Bart's like, I guess the family doesn't miss me.
does miss him.
Or does miss him. And so we cut to the Simpson house where they clearly miss Bart, and Lisa is ripping the wallpaper off the wall. And Marge's like, Lisa, what are you doing? Just trying to fill the void of random, meaningless destruction that Bart's absence has left in our hearts. And Marge's like, aw. So Homer walks in the room and Lisa trips him and yells as he falls flat on his face. And Marge's like, aw, that's sweet, honey. Oh, that's great. That's great. That's awesome.
That's fantastic.
And so we cut back to Bart putting on the same suit as Mr. Burns.
It's a little tight.
Yeah, Bart's like, it's a little tight. And Burns like, yes, that's to correct your posture. Soon you'll have a mighty hump.
Oh, God. Wow, that just hurts thinking about.
I know. I don't want to hump.
No.
Well, Shay is always like, Steven, you gotta sit up. Like, every time I'm like, my back hurts, she's like, that's because you're always leaning forward or something.
You should probably listen to your wife.
I know. And so, Bart's like, all right. Burns like, okay, let's fire some employees. And so they go into the room, and Burns has Lenny come in, and he tells him, explain to me why you shouldn't be fired without using the letter E. And Lenny's like, because I am a good work guy.
And then he's like, and Burns like, Lenny, you're fired. And Lenny's like, but I didn't say the letter. And then before he says it, Burns opens up a trap door and Lenny yells,
it's like, oh, you will.
And so Bart is eager. He's like, oh, I want to try one. And so the door opens up. There's a donut sitting by the door. And who walks into the room but Homer Simpson? The trail of donuts seems to stop here.
Only Homer would follow a trail of donuts.
Yeah. And so obviously, clearly, this is Burns setting up Bart.
It's almost like a Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker test.
And so he wants to, Burns tells Bart that he wants to test his loyalty. And so, Homer is like got a tearful face. And, Bart is wavering, and Burns tells Bart he better hurry up, or else Bart you'll lose everything. The toys, the wealth, the gift certificate to Blockbuster Video.
Oh my God, that is great.
Nobody gets that reference
So if
anymore.
you guys don't, I mean, I'm sure they follow 90s things on Facebook or something, but if you guys don't know, Blockbuster Video was a place where you used to rent movies on a Friday, Saturday night and have a family night.
Yeah. I think they've heard us talk about Blockbuster before. And so Annie concludes with, and the freedom to do whatever you want. And Bart, Homer's like, I miss you. And so Bart's like, or he's like, whatever you do, we still love you. And Bart's like, you're fired, Dad. And I'll remind her, because now I wish they had let it set for a few extra seconds, because Bart never calls Homer Dad.
Nope, never.
And so I wish they had let, this, I get it, you're in a time constraint, but I wish they had let it been able to sit for an extra moment to make people think, oh, Bart's really firing Homer?
Yep.
But because, Bart never says Dad to Homer.
He says Homer, yep.
And so he's like, you're fired, Dad. And he's actually looking at Burns, and Burns is like, you will never be my son. And Bart's like, and Burns is yelling at him, but Bart's like, can you just move a little to the left? Burns like, oh, okay. And then Bart opens the trap door, and Mr. Burns like, ee! And Smithers yells after Mr. Burns to land on Lenny's carcass, and Smithers jumps in after him.
So, what was at the bottom of this trap door? Concrete?
I guess. How far is this pit?
Lenny's carcass. So apparently Burns thinks he's dead.
But he's not.
No, because...
Well, no, Smithers thinks Lenny is dead.
Yes.
But he's probably not. So, I mean, I don't know. And so Homer tells Bart that he knows he's upset because he thought you saw him on TV. But they didn't want Bart in the I'm sorry. Let me start over. Homer tells Bart he knows he's upset because Bart thought he saw The Simpsons on TV saying they didn't want Bart in the family. And Homer's like, but those were just actors.
Yep.
And Bart's like, how did you know? And because they're like, I think they're back at the house because both Homer and Lisa reveal that the actors followed them around for a week.
Yeah. Character acting.
That's great. And so Homer, before the end of the episode, Homer's like, Bart, I'd like to introduce your new brother, and it's Hans Moleman. And Moleman is dressed in Bart's clothes. He's like, cowabunga dudes. And Homer starts kissing Hans Moleman on the head. It's like kissing a peanut. And then we go to the credits, and you can hear Marge telling Homer she wants that thing out of her house.
Oh, don't call Hans Moleman a thing.
He's got feelings, Marge.
Yeah, don't call him a thing. We all love Hans Moleman.
You can't keep a Hans Moleman down.
That's right.
Oh, God. I love this episode. It's I think we've said this in the past when it's like just an A kind of storyline episode.
Yep.
They're always so good because you don't go on these little side adventures. You got you're going to shoot, bees out of your mouth. It's so good. It's so whimsical.
You know what's funny? Even though I knew that scene was what it was, I was just waiting for the extra bit. I was waiting.
See, and I forgot about that scene, but I remember the lesson here is never to try scene. I knew that was coming. I was waiting for it because I've used that like not really a meme because it's the full quote, but I've used that quote.
Yeah. Do you think Nelson was pissed that he knew? Yeah. Nelson was, if Bart didn't get it, Nelson was next in line.
Maybe. Well, Burns decided not to give anybody the airship.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to give it a 5. Everything's coming up Millhouse. It's a solid episode. It's got, he card read good.
Yeah.
Like Mr. Kearns is just, it's so good. Now, how they kind of got there is a little flimsy. Like, let's be realistic here. It's Homer thinking, the bigwigs are hard at work, but they're really not, kind of trope. But yeah, it doesn't diminish.
It got to where it was.
I don't really have any nitpicks with this episode. No, I really don't.
No, I'm gonna go 5. Everything's coming up Millhouse as well. I mean, there's nothing wrong with this episode. I love Burns's flashback is fantastic. Even the Greenpeace on the boat thing, that was absolutely
harmless tobacco.
Harmless tobacco, yeah. But no, Bart being Burns' heir definitely shows a new side to Mr. Burns.
Yes.
This is actually a Mr. Burns centric episode for really all intents and purposes.
Yeah. I would say Bart / Mr. Burns centric.
But we learn a little bit more about Burns.
Yeah.
We see a little bit more in his house. We see that Smithers gets buried alive with them at the end.
That mausoleum is amazing. Attention to detail.
We learn there's an extra room in the power plant we didn't know was there. Burns' little bathtub, jacuzzi.
Well, was that at the plant?
I was assuming it was at the plant.
Was it at his house? I think it was at his house, and he was just watching. Remember, he's super rich. He could probably get that hookup.
No. But remember when Homer becomes like, was it Burns' assistant? Like he takes over Smithers.
Yeah.
Like the executive bathroom that Homer goes to was kind of looks like this.
That could have, but maybe it was an executive bathroom. Okay.
I think I'm going to go with that.
But where did that fireplace room come from then?
I don't know.
Or did Mr. Smithers drive Burns home?
He must have driven him home.
Okay.
He definitely. I would say he drove him home. But yeah, I mean, overall, the fantastic start to finish.
Yeah.
I love that Hans Moleman was the one that got brainwashed into being.
Oh my God, I love Hans Moleman.
Simpsons kid. Yeah. So that's awesome. So let's finish it up with our character profile. And this week we have the Simpson actors, but not the Simpson actors you're thinking of. We're thinking of the fake Simpson actors, the ones that were in the video.
Yes.
And so their occupations, actors. And frauds for hire. Because, Burns was trying to trick
But
Homer.
Are they really frauds for hire? Because isn't all acting is being somebody else?
Maybe. Their latest job, retained by Mr. Burns to portray members of the Simpson family. I think they did a good job. What do you think?
Bo.
Bo. Okay, maybe the guy who played Homer didn't do the best job. No. Technique, using dialogue designed to convince Bart his mother, father, and sisters no longer love him. And we didn't actually see a baby Maggie.
No, we didn't. Well, maybe he couldn't get a baby Maggie actress.
That's kind of sad, though.
You couldn't tell me.
Was there even a Maggie in this episode?
Yes, maybe. No, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think there was even a Maggie in this episode.
There might not have been.
Judgment Heir. treating this as a real job. Yeah, I wouldn't want to follow Homer Simpson around all day.
No.
Skill level, poor. Pretty bad. Commitment to roles, questionable. I mean, the Lisa actor and the Homer actor were at least semi-committed.
Yeah.
Although they didn't learn their lines.
No.
But committed. Nonetheless. Oh, that's good. All right, so let's finish up episode 99 with where you can find us. So check us out on our social media, Facebook, The Simpsons Dated Podcast. Be sure to like and, not subscribe, but follow us there so you can get all of our posts. Instagram, The Simpsons Dated Pod. Twitter, Simpsons Dated PC. If you'd like to donate to our podcast, check us out on buymeacoffee.com/SimpsonsDidIt. And send us a donation. You get some stickers for all your troubles. And you get to, show support for, the work that we do here at the Simpsons Dated Podcast. And lastly, check out our YouTube channel. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment on the episodes that you do listen to on there. And let us know what you think, because, having our podcast on YouTube is very helpful for a lot of people, and we get a lot of quote-unquote views, even though it's not technically a video of any sort. It's more of a audio file covered with a picture. But go ahead and listen to us on there. And lastly, give us a phone number. And if you guys are listening to us, not many people have called in, and Google is unfortunately threatening to get rid of our number because we're not using it. I think that's more my fault.
Probably.
Because it says I haven't texted or made phone calls from it, which that's really not the purpose of it. And people told us that it was a good idea to do it. So if you could please give us a call. Our phone number is 612-584-0986. So give us a call. Jaden LeBron did an awesome voicemail message for us. So let us know what you think of our podcast, how we're doing, anything you want to hear from us, or just general comments, and we'll bring you up on our podcast, kind of like we did with the one guy at the beginning of the episode. So, give us a call. So until next time, I'm Steven Skolansky.
And I'm Robert Skolansky.
And this has been The Simpsons Did It.
Shh.